Basketball Wives production and VH1, y'all got some explaining to do. Y'all got some explaining to do. And let me tell you why, for those of you guys who are watching, because OG has exposed it all. Okay, exposed it all with leaked audio from the actual conversation with her and Kristen and Jennifer and Jackie. Yes, it appears as though your girl OG has the actual audio recording of the entire nearly hour-long conversation. It's 52 minutes that we have right here. Okay, if you guys go to OG's page, her on Instagram, she has released the information, okay, that leads us to understand a better really about her take on the matter. And quiet as it's kept, I'm not gonna play the audio here for a couple of reasons. One, I don't know who the audio actually belongs to, so I'm not gonna put that here because I don't want somebody to come back and take it down later. And I don't even know what the legal ramifications are for her having posted it on her own. I do know that there are definitely times when, you know, artists and celebrities are doing like magazine interviews and they may have someone taping the situation just so that the magazine doesn't print anything out of context and they actually have it. So this is not unheard of. I've just never seen it done in this way and then posted to Instagram for all of us to get a hold to, okay? Now, what I will tell you is, and this is with regards to last night's conversation that we saw at the end of the episode. Now, we are going to touch on the episode, but of course, you guys know we got to talk about the news first. For those of you guys who don't know, it's your boy DJ Richie Skye back in the building. We got to talk about this right now because, you know, we got a small portion of, you know, what was obviously a longer conversation last night, okay? And it appeared during the episode, just my honest opinion, it felt like OG seemed a little agitated or irritated, I should say, you know, with the conversation. And it appeared, based on what we saw on television, that Kristen was coming into the conversation to get a better understanding of the issues that OG faced with regards to race and color, okay? Now, the audio definitely shows, I think, that it seems as though that was Kristen's intent. However, the conversation was so nuanced that you had to, you honestly, I'm gonna tell you guys like this. If you guys recall the episode of Real Housewives of Potomac, after the altercation, the ladies met at Karen's house. Monique came and she was attempting to explain herself with the ladies. The entire episode was just that conversation, okay? Now, what they should have done on Basketball Wives, this conversation should have been an entire episode. Simply because there was so much that was covered, so many small details that were uncovered during this conversation. But let me give you guys the post that OG actually made with regards to what it says, okay? She says, listen very carefully. After waiting over 2 hours for this girl to come force an ignorant conversation, I was extremely nice, patient, and accommodating. Why this was not shown, I do not know, but let me clear some things up now, okay? She says, I do not care what these people think about me. Yes, I experienced colorism. Yes, I experienced racism. I initially expressed my concerns privately to see if these issues could be resolved. After publicly being defamed, segregated, and called a monkey, I shared my experience. I was asked multiple times while filming to explain myself regarding these topics and did so in great detail, just to have it edited out. This is not my storyline. I'm not the one who keeps bringing it up. I have no reason to lie. This is simply what really happened to me, followed by pathetic attempts to do damage control. Stop perpetuating this disgusting false narrative and tell the truth. To everyone that has been supporting me from day one, thank you so much. You all deserve the truth. Now, again, I can't play it all here, but just to give you guys the gist, you know, I felt as though during this conversation, and I would love to know if you've heard, I listened to the entire thing, and I would love to know what you guys came away with. And one of the things that I came away with and I felt like Kristen got an education, okay? She got an education on the nuances of the color issue as well as race. And then for me, I also got an education on featureism. And I was just like blown away. So I had to go back and do my own research on the topic. And I found a great article. I'm gonna put it in the description down below for those of you guys who may not be as familiar with featureism as some of the other people who might be, you know, because my takeaway from the situation was this, and I know OG has a slightly different stance on it. You know, for OG, she feels like she's gone over this situation and she's talked about it and she's done talking about it. For Kristen and for the audience, I feel like for us, for me, I needed the education because, you know, I feel like that's how we really begin to combat these ideas of color and race issues within our own culture. You know what I'm saying? So I encourage you guys to really visit her page and listen to the entire discussion because it was really eye-opening to hear how it went from the beginning and how it got to the point where it got to. And it really does show she did have a lot more patience with the situation than what was given on the screen, okay? But you guys let me know what you think, you know, about this whole situation, and we'll move right on into the actual episode. And sorry, but we had to discuss that because it was all very important, okay? Now, with regards to the episode, I wanna know what you guys would rate the episode. On a scale of the 1 to the 10, I am, at this point in time, going to rate this episode an 8. And I'm going to give it an 8 because, and I was going to give it a 7.5, but I'm going to give it an 8 because, you know, I enjoyed seeing how the ladies came together. And I enjoyed seeing the beginnings of, you know, some sort of dialogue between, you know, OG and Kristen. But I got to take away some points because that conversation was so deep that it deserved much more than what was given on the show, okay? It really was. It is so deep. And, you know, you can, and one of the things I've been saying is, regardless of whether or not you understand her perspective, and I mean OG, you have to respect her experience because it does mean something. And if she has experienced it, guess what? Viewers might have also seen it on the show. So it does need to be talked about and it does need to be addressed, but in the right way. And the other reason I'm gonna say this is too, it needs to be addressed because, okay, because for the simple fact that here it is from a network perspective. The network can be looking at it like, and this is no disrespect to VH1 or any other network, but the network could be like, oh, now there's an issue and they're fighting with each other about color and race. Who knew? This is exciting. Let's keep this going because the fans are riled up. You know what I'm saying? And this seems to be an issue that's not going away. We have our storyline right here, okay? So it's important for the ladies to think, okay, we need to really all come together on this and sit down and have a real open and honest ponderosa about what is really going on here. And something that OG said in the she said it in the actual conversation. She said this situation is a group situation. She says, I experienced this within the group. She never called out any particular names at that point in the conversation, but she says she experienced it in the group and she felt like it would be a discussion better had in a group setting and not a one-off with Kristen. Okay, so there's that, and I'm gonna leave it alone. So anyway, all the ladies arrived at the house and we got the separate houses. Obviously, we have Evelyn's house with Shaunie, Malaysia, Liza, and Kristen. And we learned that Phoebe is quarantining because she has been exposed to the panorama, okay? Jackie's house has OG and Jennifer, okay, and Jennifer. And so OG announces that she and Kwame are trying for some kids. And Jackie, you know Jackie know it all, okay? And Jackie began giving instructions on how to have a boy, okay? And according to Jackie, you got to lift your right leg up, put your booty on the floor, turn to the left, turn to the side, hands on your knees, flip upside down, legs up, booty tooted this way. It's got to be a whole lot of things going on for you to have a boy. But Jackie got the key, okay? Jackie got the key. All right. Now, while OG, she says at this point she's open to having conversations with the other ladies. But honestly, I'm gonna tell you I felt like what she really also wanted was some apologies. Okay, that was what was not said until later. Okay, Jen is not. She feels like she's taking too much. And according to Jackie, it seems like her attitude is stank. My question to you guys is Jennifer's attitude at this point in time justified or not? Because Jackie just wants her to get on board and let's get this thing popping so they can have some fun. But Jen is like, I don't want to have no fun with them. I can respect them from over here, okay? So Jackie wants to go speak to the other ladies. Jen says, don't bring that bad energy back here. And Jackie is like,
I will do what I want.
Okay? I will do what I want. And she is over Jen's attitude. And at this point, I kind of am too. But again, I want to know, do you guys feel like Jen is justified for the way she feels or not? And quiet as this question. Well, and here's another little bit of information. So somebody on Twitter asked Jen how she went from being on OG's side to not being on OG's side. And Jen says to keep watching. So we'll just have to keep watching and wait and see what happens. Anyway, Liza and Shaunie, they talking, okay, and she talks, and Liza's talking about how she's dealing with Lamar. Now, this is the situation. She cannot access any of the college money, and the college money for the son, LJ, apparently she has to go through Lamar to get it, okay? Now, it's due in the next 60 days. They have a college fund that was set up that was about $200,000. And again, it can only be accessed for the kids for college. But she's not getting no answers from Lamar. And I'm like, he got a lot of issues. This man, I mean, you know what I hate? I hate when the kids suffer as a result of the parents, either whatever type of issues they got going on. I hate it. I hate that. I hate it so much. Jackie arrives at the new house, at the Evelyn house, and Malaysia promptly leaves with her middle finger in the air. Now, on the tour, Jackie actually encounters Malaysia, who is playing on her phone, and then Malaysia promptly exits. Now, Jackie invites the ladies over. Kristen announces that she wants to go talk to OG about the color and the race conversation as a woman who shares the exact same melanin palette, is what she says, okay? Jackie later on, when she relays this message to OG, does not relay that it is about the color conversation, okay? And I can't remember if she knew it then or not. Evelyn is convinced that OG is lying about what she has experienced with regards to color. And she's not willing to have a conversation because she's still hurt after being accused of being a racist, okay? Now, this is stemming from Evelyn posting the monkey emoji with a statement that seemed to imply that she was speaking about OG, okay? Now, Shaunie is open to hearing OG, but wants to be in a good space of resolve. Shaunie wishes Jen the best and isn't holding on to any petty drama, okay? Now, Liza has a conversation with her son, LJ, and learns that Lamar has contacted him and brought up the money. And LJ didn't dive into the conversation and say, Dad, where my money at? Lamar, where is the money? Okay, where is the money? LJ, I get it. You the son, and you feel like you probably shouldn't have to be asking about this money. But you need this money, man, and you deserving of this money. Get this money, okay? Malaysia tells the ladies that her and Jack, well, the ladies tell Malaysia that Jackie will want to likely apologize to her. Malaysia seems somewhat open to it, and Evelyn is relieved. Now, we learned that OG at some point in time posted a photo of Evelyn's grandfather on social media, comparing her to her grandfather in some way, shape, or form. I guess this was about ethnicity. Comment in the chatterization if you guys recall what this was about, because I don't remember seeing this on social media, but I ain't glued to social media all day. So I don't know. It could have happened. I don't know. Evelyn feels like OG is the person who is caught up on color and not her, okay? So Jackie gets back to her house. She shares that Kristen wants to have a conversation with OG. OG says she's open. I do have to say that I do love this red confessional look that OG has. I felt like this was a winner right here, okay? So then Jackie goes to Jennifer, but Jennifer is unwilling to try to make peace. Now Kristen heads over to Jackie's house, and all I'm thinking to myself, I thought the houses were next door. How far is the house? She had a whole conversation with Thomas on the phone, okay, as she was on her way over to the house. And it seemed like it was a very long drive, because OG says in her message that it took her 2 hours to get there, okay? Or at least they was waiting for 2 hours. But we know how production will do sometimes. And I don't mean to be shady, VH1 Production or the production company that's managing this, but it is a production trick to have one party waiting for an extra long time to sort of get them riled up and irritated, you know, about having to wait so long, so that the conversation does indeed go a little bit left, you know, due to agitation, okay? So anyway, Thomas tells her that she may want peace, but that may not be what she gets, okay? Foreshadowing right there. So it's Evelyn, Liza, and Malaysia and Shaunie. They're having a sleepover while they're waiting for Kristen to get back and tell them what happened. Now, Liza tells them about the whole Lamar college money situation, and Malaysia feels like she's hurt over Lamar. They all feel like she has to move on from Lamar. But she feels otherwise, like she can't, and she says she can't let the kids fight the college fight on their own. And I'm thinking to myself, did I miss something? Because why should she not fight for the kids to get their money? And did she say something that led them to believe otherwise? Because I feel like she should be fighting for that money for them kids. You know what I'm saying? She doing the right thing. Now, I was about to say, I don't necessarily know that she should be preoccupied with it while she's on the trip, but this is her real life. That's her real life. So to me, to tell her to just move on, it just seems kind of careless to me. I don't know. I didn't get that. Anyway, at Jackie's house, Jackie brings out the sushi for dinner. Jennifer wants just to have some popcorn, and so do I. Kristen arrives a little underdressed. OG at this point doesn't look happy, but now we know why, because it was 2 hours later. Jackie initiates the conversation. Kristen says she wants to hear her out about her experience with color. OG feels like she expects Kristen to speak and not have to answer SAT questions. So basically, when Jackie relayed the message that Kristen wanted to have a conversation with OG, OG was expecting Kristen to want to come to the table, and Kristen, having not shared that it was about what it was, then came in expecting something different from what OG was expecting, leading the conversation to start off kind of on the wrong foot in general. We talked a lot about the conversation. I will talk about this whole idea of featureism, because OG did make some very good points about that. And I was really educated about this. And one of those examples was, you know, with Phoebe calling her ugly, and there was some talk about her being unattractive. And one of the things that she mentioned in the actual audio was that she felt like she had never gone after anybody in the way that they looked. If she did go after somebody, it was about something that was, you know, she deemed as factual, or something based on anything else other than looks, because she herself has an understanding of what that means culturally in this context. Okay. It was a really deep conversation. Jen ends up bringing the part about being called aggressive. And if you guys don't listen to the actual audio, you will miss this part, because there was a lot of discussion about the reunion from last year. And so when Jen brings up, you know, them calling her aggressive, it was also a discussion about them separating her at the reunion because, you know, they were afraid she was going to act out or something like that. Now, when we see it on the screen, Jackie comes in and says, well, I've been called aggressive and crazy, which is true. She has been. But OG points out in the actual audio, not in the scene, that they never had to separate Jackie from the rest of the crew to do their reunion because of that, okay? So she's pointing out very specific points that, that she's experienced. And I will admit, initially, as the conversation is starting, OG, she doesn't really want to go into detail, which is, I think, what Kristen was wanting her to do, to immediately go into it. But I guess from OG's perspective, according to her post, she's already done this and it wasn't shown, it was edited out. And she feels, I believe, like she feels like she's being marginalized, not only by, you know, the cast, but also by production. You know what I'm saying? So it's a whole big cluster F on this situation right now. And something's got to be done to rectify this. I don't know what it is, but something needs to be done. And at this point in time, I can't really say that I fault her for, you know, wanting to have these conversations recorded, because I kind of feel like, you know, if you know that you're going to be edited poorly, you got to do something to protect yourself. I don't know. What do you guys think about it? You know, I'm open to anything at this point that y'all got to say. What did I miss? I might have missed something. Let me know. What are your thoughts about it? The whole situation is confusing, and it's, you know, it's troublesome to me. It's troublesome to me. But that's all I got to say about the situation for right now. We'll just have to wait and see what happens next week when the new ladies arrive. More on that as things continue to unravel. We'll continue to discuss it. If any more news drops, we'll definitely talk about it. But with that being said, I will catch you guys in the next video.